Well, welcome everyone that is here so far, and thank you for joining us today. So we see in our audience count that it's growing, so we're just going to give everybody a couple more minutes to log in and get situated. Looks like we still got some more joining us. We'll give it a couple more minutes while people are getting logged on, and then we will get started. Okay, looks like everybody's here. So hi everyone, we are super excited that you're here today to join us. Myself and Nick Boscia. So he's going to share how he doubled his firm and got his life back. So we will kick it off first with some intros. So I want to introduce myself. My name is Julia Vincent, and I have been with SmartVault for 4 years now, since 2021, and I'm on the customer success team. I do work hand in hand with customers just like Nick. So he's going to share his story with you all today. So hi, Nick. You guys can't see him yet, but he's there.
All right.
And we're going to cover the Boscia and Boscia journey from where they first started to now and how they doubled their firm without adding any headcount or more hours, leaving you with simple, actionable steps that you guys can implement yourself. But before I hand it over to you, Nick, I just want to do a few housekeeping things before we begin. So I will share the recording and resources shared during the presentation via email after the webinar. And then throughout, there's going to be a couple polling questions through this presentation. So just be sure that you guys are prepared to participate in those. So you can use the chat, the QA box, to drop any questions you have. And then we'll address them along the way. And then we have 10 minutes or so at the end saved to address that, what we don't get to. So Nick, I will pass it over to you. Welcome.
All right, thank you. I'm going to take you off the screen, and here I am. Welcome, everybody. For any of you who don't know me, my name is Nick Boscia. A little bit about my backstory is I inherited my family accounting firm, which was founded in 1975. So that's a really big part of my story and how we completely evolved our firm with technology. And obviously the session is about how I doubled my firm and kind of bought my life back, and now I don't work 1 million hours. But today I'm the managing partner at Boscia & Boscia, my family firm. I'm also on ADP's Accountant Advisory Board and Intuit's Tax Council because I'm really passionate about, improving all the systems that we use as accountants in our day-to-day and how these technology tools and our vendors and all these resources we could utilize to serve our clients at a higher level and buy our life back. And that kind of leads me into my brand, the Balanced CPA. And I'm just really passionate about helping firm owners like yourselves streamline their workflows and create balance and fulfillment in both their business and their personal life, which I think is why we're all here. We're all building firms and getting clients and serving. So hopefully, we can make a difference for our clients, but then we could also make a difference and design the life that we want to live. Which then leads me into the most important part, is what I love doing outside of the numbers. And I am a passionate world traveler. So a big part of my story is I travel a lot, and I travel probably over 10 times this year, and whether going to accounting conferences or just personal vacations. But the purpose of bringing this up is just how I designed a life a firm that allows me to live the life I want to live. So hopefully some of that gets you a little bit excited about, if any of that excites you, you're definitely at the right place. I also have my contact over there where you could scan. It'll be at the end too, because I love hearing from people after the fact, ask follow-up questions. And there, again, Julie already mentioned, there will be time for Q&A at the end. So try to save your questions to the end and we'll be happy to go through them. So I want to start off with the first polling question, just to kind of gauge where everyone's at. So how would you describe your work-life balance during last tax season? So did things run smoothly even during the peak season? It's manageable, but you're stretched thin. Burnout is real and balance feels impossible. Or what is balance? I'm just trying to survive. And thanks for participating. It gives me a good idea of, where everyone's at currently from last tax season. Hopefully we could make a few changes, learn a few things during this session that you could implement this for this upcoming season and make tax season just a little bit more manageable. Because when I first started, I was like, what is balance? I was just trying to survive, and it was painful. And we made massive changes in our firm, and now, not that we're picture perfect, but we're a lot closer to where we want to be. So I think most people have voted. I'll leave it open for a few more seconds. And it looked like the majority says it's manageable, but you're stretched thin. So we're going to go through, we'll start with my pain points and kind of how we shifted and how we, solved a lot of our problems. So hopefully some of this stuff will help the audience. So the problem. This is where it all starts. When I joined my firm, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I was excited to join my family, and growing up, I lived a good lifestyle. So my dad obviously was doing something right. I'm like, he runs an incredible accounting firm, makes money. But as I got older, I started realizing some of the things that he might not have been doing really well in his firm. He was really good at working really hard. So I don't know if anyone out there is just, hey, you're a really hard worker. You could work 80 hours, no problem, no complaints. That was my dad. He would work 80 hours. He would work nights and weekends. And growing up, I never saw my dad. So maybe some people out there could relate to that a little bit. Maybe that's you, or maybe that was your parents. But that is what I walked into. And it took a lot of years for my dad to build that mindset. And that was just part of what Boscia and Boscia was about. When I walked in the door, I didn't really think about it. That I'm like, oh, wait, I thought I was going to have a better work-life balance because I came from PwC working a lot of hours. And then I just went to my family firm working a lot of hours. The only difference is as the years went on, I was just trying to learn everything I could. And then I just started realizing we were doing a lot of processes really antiquated. And I joined in 2013. So technology and all those things already existed at the time, but we weren't using any of those things. Paper chaos is definitely what I walked into. I don't know if anyone out there is not a paperless firm, but when I joined in 2013, we had filing cabinets. All of our clients' documents were stored in filing cabinets. We didn't have an electronic system, which is why I love SmartVault, which we'll get into. But we literally, when I had to go find a client's folder, I would be sorting alphabetically through filing cabinets and wasting an unbelievable amount of time. But the place to start here, the reason we start with the problem is at first I didn't realize that this was a problem. And some of you out there listening must be like, this guy's crazy. How could you have 700 clients at the time and have paper folders? That was just how we did things. And I'm sure a lot of people listening, the way you're doing things has been working for years. So why change it? But if I would have told myself that, I would still have paper filing cabinets today. But the paper chaos had to end. We were wasting so much time just sorting through paper documents. And then for our tech forward clients who wanted to email their documents to us, there was a huge security risk because we didn't have a secure portal like SmartVault, obviously, for them to upload. So they basically, the only way they could bring documents to us in a secure way is physically bring them to us, which was inefficient. They'd come in, have conversations with us, or they would mail it to us and we're scanning all the documents and manually sorting them on our end. Or worse off, they're emailing their W-2s and emailing their prior year returns to us unencrypted. And realizing we all know that identity theft is rampant, so we should not be having any clients email any secure documents to us in an unsecured fashion. So after painting the picture of those pain points, I realized that we had to change. However, my big roadblock was my dad said, we're not changing anything. I walk in the door and he's already been doing this for 40 years. He built his business from the ground up. So it was basically his way or the highway. And that was a huge pain point for me because I knew something had to change. We were getting more clients and growing the firm, but we weren't fixing any of our processes. How I learned was actually going to accounting conferences, talking to the other accounting firm owners and say, how do you solve for this? How do you do this? And sharing knowledge. But the problem is I knew what had to get done, but I essentially wasn't allowed to make any changes in my firm. So if you're the roadblock right now and you're saying, I don't want to change, maybe part of this presentation will help you shift your mindset, saying what could be possible if you make the changes. And I'm hopefully everyone out there is like, we don't have paper documents. And if you don't have paper documents, that's amazing. But we had to realize that our legacy system had to change. It was great for when that was how things were operating. But as technology evolved, we needed to evolve with the technology. And as I mentioned, we were getting tons of new clients. Me and my older brother and my dad were networking, social media, all this stuff. So we're bringing all these clients, but all that happened was we were working more hours. We were making more money, which is great, but we were just working more hours. So if anyone's feeling that pain, you get more clients in, your systems are broken, you're just going to work more hours doing things inefficiently. And that's when I knew something had to change. And as I discussed this story, it's not like over in 1 year I made the change. It took a significant amount of time to hit my breaking point where I'm like, I can't do this anymore. We went from I want to say like 600, 700 clients to 900 clients. But as we grew, I was taking no time off. We were just working as much as we could. And we had a 100% manual process. Everything we did, as I mentioned, was paper or manually dragging and dropping files from an email into their unorganized folder structures that we had. And we had no workflow management system. We had no automated billing system. We had so many things that I knew one piece of technology could completely revolutionize the way we operated, but it got to the point where we just couldn't do it anymore. Which eventually led to the shift. And the year everything changed was really when my dad actually retired in 2018. So from 2013 to 2018, we made no real progress. We made more money because we worked more hours, got more clients, but no real revolutionary changes at Boscia and Boscia at that point in those 5 years. Once my dad retired, then as it says here, the floodgates basically opened and I was like, all right, we're changing all these processes. The problem is, as you probably realize, changing clients' mindsets on things, that's the hard part. So when you have all their clients coming in with paper, and that's the way they've been doing it for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it's hard to say, hey, upload to SmartVault. But it's something, we knew what we wanted, how we wanted clients to work with us, not saying they were just going to just change just because that's what was best for us. We actually had to explain how it was best for them as well. Which leads me into talking about, I already mentioned, a secure client portal. We needed clients to have a way to get documents to us in a secure way that's encrypted, that's compliant, that protects us and protects the client. It's also very easy to use, and it automatically organize all of our documents, which previous to this, even if we were making a manual folder structure coded by last name, there were typos or someone got married and their last names changed, and none of those naming conventions changed and no one was managing them. And we were at this time had 900 to 1,000 clients, so going through all of these client folders took a lot of time. So once we implemented SmartVault, we use Lacert as our tax software, and it integrates with SmartVault, which is like one of the keys to making the change is all of those folder structures automatically created. So there's no additional work. So we basically just printed all of our tax returns directly to SmartVault, and it matched exactly the naming conventions, the searchability, and now all the team knew where the files let's call it should go, because not every client just wanted to use it right off the bat, but that's where they would now access their tax documents. Before SmartVault, we were mailing their tax returns to them or emailing it to them, password protected, because obviously we want a password on the file, but the problem, they would delete the email, they'd lose the paper. So this solved all of those pain points, and it couldn't have been more perfect timing when we implemented this in 2019, because at that time COVID hit. So, and I like to say the COVID catalyst, a lot of firms might feel this way, is, COVID, a lot of things changed, but from a technology standpoint, a remote work standpoint, things just expanded very quickly. So when we at first implemented SmartVault, maybe 20% of our clients were uploading it. Our younger, more tech-forward clients were like, "Oh, this is amazing. You need to have a secure portal to upload their files." Where the other 80% were like, "Let's just keep doing it the old way that we've been doing it." Once COVID happened, clients no longer felt comfortable coming to the office, because they shouldn't during COVID. They don't want to mail the documents because there could be germs and all those things on it. So it was the catalyst that allowed a ton of our clients to use SmartVault. We educated them how to use it, super user friendly, which I think is a really critical part of making any change in your firm. If it's hard for the clients to use, they're probably not going to adapt to it. And SmartVault is really easy to use. So that after that first year of COVID, we went from a 20% adoption rate to a 90% adoption rate. And I would say today it's about 95%, maybe even more, which is the goal, to be 100% on SmartVault. And every client, all of our documents live in SmartVault. So now it's super easy for everyone to find basically everything in our firm is living there. And the reason that this is such a critical point, I feel like we just got lucky, because if we didn't have SmartVault, I don't know how we would have survived that tax season when COVID and everything locked down. How would clients have gotten their documents to us? And a lot of accounting firms weren't able to make the shift. So obviously we're way past that at this point, but just thinking how technology could solve a lot of pain points. So proactively implementing these things was a huge benefit to my firm and potentially for your firms. So I'm going to jump over to the next polling question. Enough me, so now Julie will take the stage.
Yes, and thank you, Nick. So we have another poll question for everyone. Before Nick would dive into how his firm evolved and specific changes that they made, we just want to get from the group here what tax prep tool that you guys use, whether it's Intuit products, UltraTax, CCH Access, Drake, and if there's any other one, please let us know, and you can drop in the chat which one you use. We'll give everybody a few minutes to answer that. Okay, slowing down now. I think we've got most of the votes in. So it looks like a lot of the Intuit products mainly saw a blend of the UltraTax, CCH, and Drake. Curious to see the others as well. But we'll go ahead and kick it back to you, Nick, so you can finish and dive into how your firm evolved. I think you're on mute.
Thank you. But what I was saying is I'm glad to see that there are a lot of Intuit users. And one thing I wanted to throw out there, which I think is important, is our firm has been on listserv since the beginning, but we're actually switching over to ProConnect, which is Intuit's other product. It's a cloud-based product. But one of the big reasons we weren't going to change was because the SmartVault integration wasn't designed for ProConnect, and now it is available. So that it just shows that how that's because our tax software is such a big part of how our firm operates. But I wasn't willing to switch until ProConnect or another tax software integrated with the system, with the new tax software we're switching to. So just want to throw that out there. So if there's ProConnect users out there, that's a newer integration, which I'm really excited about. So back on track. So as our firm was shifting, obviously implementing SmartVault was huge, but building, and I think we all know, building a team is the most important part of your firm. So I'm a huge tech lover. I want to automate and use as much technology as possible so we could reduce administrative time. But it's really important to have a solid team. So when we first started, it was really just my dad, then it was my dad, my brother, then it was the three of us, and then we started hiring a team. But in the beginning, we were a little bit behind on technology. So we were teaching our team outdated processes and we were having them scan documents and doing administrative things. But once we shifted to the technology, we eliminated or significantly reduced the administrative time. The team actually enjoyed working here. The first bullet here is smart hiring, because in the beginning, we were hiring people who maybe weren't very tech forward because we were not tech forward. And now we're very intentional about when we hire, and we let new hires know, or just our current team know, that our goal is to be more tech forward, is to adopt better systems and improve our processes. And when you have the right team, they get excited about those things. Because as the firm owner, you might be on the session and say, hey, we have to make this change, and get all excited about it because you see the vision of how much you could improve your firm. But you have to share that vision with your team. And if your team isn't open to making changes and doesn't want to learn new things, they might not be a right fit if you're trying to evolve your firm and become a more modern firm. So that's something that's been really important to our firm and our growth. And the team loves it because now they get to spend time doing things that they enjoy doing. Maybe it's doing more high level work than I personally, I don't think anyone loves doing scanning or loves shredding paper, but that's just my personal opinion. And then also protecting the culture. So I don't think anyone wants to work 80 hours. I don't think if someone comes in for an interview and they go, hey, we work 80 hours, 100 hours in tax season, they're probably going to run. I mean, I would, but we paint the picture that we don't have crazy tax seasons. We maybe work 45 hours a week in tax season, 50 on if things got busier than anticipated. But the summers are very laid back. We have the summer Fridays off. So we basically want to foster an environment where people want to work at our firm. And I think that's super important, because how much time do we put into training, educating, showing our team our new systems and how to use this software and how to use that, for them to be burnt out and then they quit after a year or 2 years. So thinking with that in mind, I want to make sure I'm investing in my team, making sure they have a great experience working here, because all that time their value significantly increases every year that they're with your firm. One thing that I love doing and the team loves doing, it's just kind of like a goodwill thing, is we make a 5 worst clients list. And especially in tax season, when we're dealing with a lot of clients, a lot of individuals, a lot of unique personalities. And I don't interact with every single client every time. So I want the team to actually come to me and say, during our team meeting, and we all talk about it together, who are the 5 worst clients? And obviously, if they don't have 5, they have 2 or 3, because now those worst clients are dwindling as we've been doing this process. But what it does, it allows them to identify a client who might have been rude to them, wasted their time, is just difficult, or whatever reason. We talk about it in our meeting, and then we say, hey, we're either going to raise their fee, tell them they can't work here, or we'll fire them, or we'll basically say, hey, if you want to continue working with us, we expect X, Y, and Z, or have a mutual respect. And the reason why this, seemingly small task is super important, it shows the team that they're valued first, which I definitely let that be known to my team, because I really think it's important for them to know they're here with me every day, working, serving all these clients. I want them to know they come before that one client who's disrespectful or mean or rude, and that builds a culture. And then the last point is just empowered access. Now that we have better systems at our firm, the team comes into work, they know where to find files. As I already mentioned with SmartVault, it's super easy to know who's uploading documents, which tax returns are ready to be prepared. And with our workflow system, everyone comes into the firm and they know exactly what they need to do, and they don't need me micromanaging them, But before technology, I felt like I had to micromanage every single task. What are you working on? And now we have kind of a bird's eye view of what's going on in the firm. And it's really nice because the team just feels empowered to take on more responsibility and do more. So I think just if you implement just a few of these points, your team's really going to feel it, and you're going to be able to foster a really good company culture. So I think that's super important, going beyond the technology, but the technology actually makes that possible. And then this, I think, is becoming more common to be talked about, but I think it's very difficult for accounting firm owners, especially, to say no to clients, whether it's saying no to a new client who you know is not a good right fit right off the bat, or letting go a legacy client who no longer fits maybe your new business, which I think is even harder. Because if a new client comes in the door and they're maybe ask you to do questionable things as a CPA, you already know that's not a client you want to work with. Why even let them come in the door? Just say, hey, maybe we're not a right fit for what you're looking for. That's just one example. Or a client who goes, hey, I'm not going to pay you on time, or I don't want to use SmartVault. I don't want to use your electronic payment system. Those right off the bat, when we have a new client, I already know, hey, you might not be a good fit for us. And I'd rather sever that relationship before it grows into something and then they end up being disappointed because we want to be tech forward. If they're not interested in doing those things, we identify that right in that intro call. We let clients know this is how we work. Actually, the first step of our onboarding process is before we have an introductory call, client has to upload their prior year's tax return to SmartVault, and then I have the intro call. And the reason why I absolutely love that, it shows that they're willing to use the technology, which is really important part of our workflow. And then on that first call, just had one today, I was able to review that tax return in 2 minutes, come to that call prepared. Any new information for 2025, we were able to discuss really quickly. And I gave them a lot of value on that first call. And I landed the client. I was in 9 times out of 10 because we have a really good system. But part of that system is knowing, hey, you're willing to use technology, an important piece of technology at our firm. And then when it comes to the legacy clients, so that's how we handle the new clients. And if they're not willing to do that, we just tell them right off the bat, you're not going to be a good fit. Legacy clients, if, depending, I don't know the demographic of everyone listening today, but if you have legacy clients who been coming to you for a long time and you're switching your systems and they won't do it, they won't change, and they want to keep doing everything the old way, you have to get to the point where, is it worth it? If you're trying to design your dream firm, which that's what I'm doing over here, not everyone's going to come along for the journey. And you see some of the red flags here. Disrespect obviously is unacceptable, especially if they're disrespecting the team. And the more you say no to certain clients, you're going to keep getting the clients you want and keep offloading the clients who aren't a good fit. And you're going to keep just perpetuating that cycle and just have a better client base. And everyone's going to just have a better experience working with your firm and you. So hopefully some of you have felt comfortable offboarding a client. I know it's not hard, but once you do it, it's kind of like a muscle, and then making room for those good clients. Then I would say tackling the important tasks. These were some of the big changes we made at our firm. I'm going to go out of order from the slide because one of the first things I actually did was charging for calls. So our firm, I don't know if I think every accountant I talk to in some way gives away free advice. Client asks them a question or just calls them up on the phone and so, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your time? We've all heard that. Can I just have 5 minutes of your time? It's never 5 minutes. And then you end up giving them S Corp advice and reasonable comp and all these things and answering all their questions. And then what ends up happening is you just lost 30 minutes. Your paying clients are waiting for you and you're falling behind your work, you're working late, all because you didn't have a good system. And this was me. I'm talking about myself. I was doing answering all client questions for free. And then I just made one little shift, was starting billing for my appointments. And what happened very quickly was a lot of clients stopped calling me. And when I got booked, I got paid. So I was making more money, bought back my time, and then I was able to serve the clients who actually valued my time. So that was a huge change. So if you're giving a lot of free advice away, at some point, if the goal here, the session's about doubling your firm. So if you're looking to double your firm, these little things have to change if you want to double your firm. And for whatever reason it being. Workflow management tool, we use Financial Sense. There's a lot of awesome tools out there, but I highly recommend checking out some type of workflow management tool, because once we had SmartVault, we had that as our first step because we just needed our documents organized. We needed to get rid of paper. But then as our firm scaled, it started getting confusing. People didn't know what tasks needed to be done, who were assigned to what tasks. So having a workflow management tool so everyone could visibly see what needs to get done, the tasks that need to be done, absolutely love it. That was one of the more recent pieces of technology that we implemented in our firm, but that was like a really important task that I kept kicking down the road. But once I made the change, now I could take the vacations and really be disconnected from the firm when I wanted to be. Upfront billing. This was also something we recently implemented, I would say 3 years ago. And keep in mind, when my dad retired in 2018, we implemented SmartVault and then COVID. So we didn't make much changes. And then just in like the past 5-6 years, we implemented all these systems that changed our firm, the workflow management tool, Financial Sense. And then our billing, we use Anchor. And we just sent all of our 1,400 agreements out, 1,600 agreements out on November 15th. Bill everyone in advance so they clearly see what they owe us, if they have any questions about their bills, and we're taking all of those items outside of tax season. And that's just an easy way to automate billing. So this is just the whole point of this session is just thinking, what are some tasks that you're doing that could be automated with technology? And then I already touched on document automation, but everyone knows where all of our documents live in SmartVault. It's super easy to search. It integrates, it syncs. As if we onboarded 40 new clients, that folder structure automatically creates, syncs with our tax software, and just saves us a lot of administrative time. So hopefully some of these things, maybe some of these things you're already doing, maybe all of this is new, but just identifying one thing that you want to make a change in your firm, and it makes a huge difference down the road. The biggest pain points that we had in our firm weren't big projects. It's not like we got a new client with a really complex bookkeeping need, and that's what caused us to fall behind. It's all the little inefficiencies we had, which I think I've already touched on throughout the presentation, but just clients coming in, dropping off their documents, asking for 5 minutes of my time, times 100 adds up. Or someone mailing their documents in, and now we have to scan the documents. And then they would call and say, oh, my 1099-R was in there. I think you missed it. Now we have to go through the file. Like those little things that seem insignificant, they added up to countless amount of hours. And that was my big pain point. Like when I need to have a call with a client and I'm helping doing tax planning, that's something I love to do. However, looking for a missing piece of paper or scanning documents or shredding documents, I know I'm saying this over and over, but those were my biggest pain points. Another one of my biggest pain points is taking unscheduled phone calls. So client, they get an IRS letter. The first thing they do, they call you on the phone and they need help right now. And now they're reading the letter to you, super inefficient. And these are just me thinking about the pain points in my specific firm. But as I'm going through this, you should be thinking about what are your pain points? What are some of the things that you've been doing for years and years that you know isn't efficient, maybe stresses you out, maybe makes you a little frustrated? Is there any solution? I would say there always is a solution. It might not always be easy to implement, but it's worth making those changes. So now I don't take unscheduled phone calls. So if my phone rings, they'll get a voicemail and it'll say, send me an email to schedule an appointment, or their voicemail gets forwarded right to my admin, who will ask them to email me. And it's just an efficient way because I want to be focused on the things that are really important to me. But again, these little inefficiencies, if you're looking to scale, again, we have a lot of clients. So every few extra minutes we had to spend on a client project adds up when you have 1,000+ clients. So that's why I bring up some things that you're like, hey, I'll just deal with that. I'll just scan the documents and that's no problem. But the whole idea is if you're looking to scale, become more efficient and buy your time back. So a little statistics about me. I kind of might have already mentioned this, but we more than doubled our firm since I started. And the best part, some people, it sounds like that's stressful. In the beginning, it was from 700 to 900. It was really stressful. From 900 to 1800, it got easier and easier. And it sounds like, how is that possible? It's because we improved their processes and we improved their systems. That 700 to 900, our systems were terrible. Everything was manual. There was no scalability. It was just work more hours, sheer just brute force, working harder and harder. Once after that breaking point, once we implemented SmartVault, we implemented a workflow management system, we build up front. That's when we were able to scale, because now we didn't have to spend time doing billing, wondering where files were. So, and I just paint this picture. Maybe if some of you don't want to double your firm, maybe you just want to grow 10%, but still, let's do it in an efficient way. Why do it just by working more hours? And again, the part about the team, we do more clients and have a better work-life balance than we ever had. So I think that's just like, that's really, I think, the goal, to serve more clients, work less, make more. It's kind of a win-win-win. And the client, I think the most important part is the client gets a better experience. Getting to the fun part of the whole journey, because all the changes sound stressful, sounds like a lot of work. It is, but it's so worth it. Because as I mentioned, when I first started, I took 0 vacation days. And now, and that's days, 0 days. Now I do 10 vacations per year. This year I actually did 15, so it was record breaking, but I do that intentionally because a lot of the trips is not all fun personal trips. I love going to accounting conferences. I love learning, I love speaking, but I built a firm over these years that allows me to do those things. So I was super excited to go speak at Intuit Connect, but imagine I said, I can't go because I'm too busy at my firm. And maybe you don't care about speaking or traveling or anything like that, but you want to design a firm, or I think you would like to design a firm that allows you to do the things you love to do, whether it's going to every one of your kids' soccer games or whatever you love to do, skiing and things like that. But if you are buried in your work and buried in your firm, which I think a lot of accountants I talk to are, making these changes becomes a must. And it's hard up front, but it pays off down the road. And like the quote down here, defining your own balance. What's balance to you? It's going to be different than to me. A lot of people are always like, Nick, how do you do that many trips a year? I would hate that. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Just figure out the things that you love to do. And I think the next polling question, I'm going to jump over to Julia.
Yeah. So thanks for that. So we just want to hear from the group. So if you stepped away from your firm for 2 weeks, what do you think would happen? Everything keep running smoothly? Some things would slip, but they'd manage. Chaos. And I've never taken that much time off to find out. So we'll see from the group what everybody says. Okay. It's a good mix here. So I'm sure the people that have picked the bottom 2 are really excited to hear your story, Nick, and how they can start making changes too. Okay. And so we'll keep moving and pass it back to you, Nick.
Back to me. Cool. So this is what balance actually looks like for me. And again, this will be different for everyone, but I'm one of those people, I do not function well on low sleep. I'm not one of those 5 hours a night type of people. I need 7, 8 hours. I have a lot of energy, but when I don't get my sleep, I have really low energy. So that's really important for me. So I can't be working 80-hour weeks personally, or I would have literally 0 free time. I would work and go right to bed because I need my sleep. And I don't want to race right out the door at 6 a.m. I like going to the gym in the morning. And that's just something that's really important for my balance and my personal habit. When I am out of my routine, I feel, not great. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. When I get to work, I want to have focused work. I'm doing deep work and I'm not dealing with fires all the time. I think that's really important. I'm not just going to my email and seeing what's next. I have very scheduled out time, block my time for certain projects, whether it's bookkeeping, tax, review, team training. I'm very organized in what I do, and that helps my mindset not feel overwhelmed and stressed. And then the most important part is when I get home, I want to be present. When I go home to my fiance, we have dinner together, fully present, spending time and not checking emails late at night and doing work late at night. I think we have to have that disconnect. And not everyone has that. It might seem easy, or it probably doesn't seem easy for a lot of people because that wasn't how my life was. I felt like I was working all the time. And now I can be fully present. And then lastly, having a real weekend. When I leave on Friday, I disconnect. I'm not checking my emails. I'm not taking client calls. And that's really important to me because I want to have that weekend, that break. So when I go to work on Monday, I'm not dreading work. I'm ready. I'm refreshed and good to go. That's just an important balance week for me. Tax season's a little bit different. We'll work a couple hours on Saturday, but we're not working late during the week. And that's just the environment that we built at Boscia. The proof is in the numbers. If you Google Boscia and Boscia, we're located in New Jersey in Matawan. We have over 600 5-star reviews. So I mentioned we have had 1,800 clients. Obviously, not everyone's going to leave you a review, but we have a lot of clients who leave us 5-star reviews because they have such a good experience with us. And an important part of that was actually communicating as we changed and being upfront with clients saying, hey, we're no longer accepting paper. This is how we're evolving. There wasn't hard feelings saying, hey, maybe we're not the right fit for you as we evolve. And that doesn't give us a 1-star. Someone's not going to give us a 1-star review because we changed. They're going to give us a 1-star review because we didn't communicate the change and we didn't proactively do that. So I think that just shows a little bit about our firm. We doubled our client base. I mentioned before, we have almost 95% digital adoption. We have very few legacy clients who still bring in paper. They've been coming here longer. I'm 36. They've been coming here for 40 plus years. So it's hard for them to change. And we just tell them that's completely fine. We have like what we did this year, which I like, and it's not intended to be a revenue generator, but we do a $50 administrative fee if they want to bring their documents, scan the papers for them, store it securely in SmartVault. And the only reason we do that is just so they know that that process takes us extra time. And then the team doesn't feel as bad that we're getting paid $50 to do maybe administrative scanning and shredding and all of that. And then the client realizes, oh yeah, I guess this does slow down your system. So it's like a really good communication two-way street. And we still aren't saying we're not saying you can't be your client. We're just saying, this is how the process will go. So I think that, and that's why we're at 95% and not 100%, because some of those legacy clients we aren't willing to let go and they're willing to pay the administrative fee. And I think that's a fair trade-off. And I mentioned my vacation days. So that is proof that this stuff actually works. When I first started, my life was nothing like it is today. And I think the important part to mention is anyone could do this. So some of you maybe hear my story and you're like, that is crazy. I can't believe that's how outdated your firm was. And look how far we've come. So if your firm was as bad or as outdated as my firm, you could still make the change. So I think that's why my story should hopefully help some people, because if you're ahead of where I started, this should be a lot easier for you to make the changes. And then we'll have my playbook, kind of just basically just a recap of what we went over. But the first place to start is, fix your processes. Only I mean, I don't know how many firms out there. I don't know what your processes are. I don't know what your pain points are, but fix your processes. Only you really know where your pain points really lie, and just identifying where the problem is and to determine what your solution could be. There's probably multiple solutions, but just get started. And always start with your biggest pain point first. Then getting the right technology. A lot of the pain points can be solved by technology, not every single one, but getting the right technology. When we first started, the reason my dad said no to everything, he's like, oh, why pay for that? Why pay for this technology? The best money we spend now is on our technology because it makes us so much more efficient, allows us to serve so many more clients. So identifying what technology you need, whether it's SmartVault or whatever other systems that might be important to your firm. Building a team first culture. You can't do it alone. I mean, there are a lot of solopreneurs out there, but once you build a team, there's some tasks that can't be automated. So like one thing that I highly value is, when my admin, when she takes all my phone calls for me and has them summarized into an email, like that's a huge time save. And she loves talking on the phone and I don't love talking on the phone. So that's why having a team is really important, because you have to realize that, well, I know the things that I'm really good at, I'm real good at, and there's certain things that I'm terrible at that someone else is really good at. So having a good team, I think, is really important. And then all of this elevates your client experience. The technology, having access to all their documents 24/7 is a big value add to the client. And things don't fall through the cracks when you have all these automations. That's usually when clients get frustrated, when their taxes don't get filed on time because you missed the deadline because it fell through the crack and they dropped the paper off and no one marked it in the system. So little things like that, the clients end up having a better experience when you make these changes. And what do you do it all for? Is design your life. I don't want to be a slave to my office and always have to work 24/7 and never be able to take a break. And that was my mission, and that's what really drove me. So I'm going to hand it back over to Julia to talk a little bit about SmartVault.
Yes, thank you. And your story is so great to hear. I know, working myself with existing clients of SmartVault, that hearing your story, they probably just feel so seen and so heard. So this is wonderful. So I did want to just share a little bit of light on SmartVault as well. As you know, SmartVault was a key player in the Boscia and Boscia growth and transformation. And it looks like we have a lot of new people that joined today. So I did want to take a moment just to give you an overview of what we do. So SmartVault is a secure cloud-based document management system and client portal. We were built by accountants for accountants, and we've been here for over 15 years. Today, actually, over 3 million users are storing over 500 million documents. We're known for many things, but our security and compliance, we are SOC 2 Type 2, which is different from Type 1. We are IRS 4557 compliant, and then we have the client portal. It's just a secure document data hub at core for your tech stack. And then we are proven to be reliable with 100% uptime, actually, for the last 3 tax seasons. So that's been great. And then you can go to the next slide for me, Nick. So just like the end-to-end workflow here, SmartVault supports your entire workflow. So from the very first client touch point all the way through archiving documents, so everything stays secure, connected, and automated. So you can create and send engagement letters, onboarding clients, set up folder structures automatically. Document collection is really where we shine. Clients can upload documents directly into your secure portal, either from your computer or their smart device. We have a new feature called Smart Scan, where you can actually take a picture and upload it, and it converts it to a PDF. So there's no more emailing and no guessing where things go. Smart Request AI is also a new feature that we've released, and that allows you to generate personalized questionnaires and organizers. It would be based on the prior year tax return. So we've seen that to save about 60 to 90 minutes per return. And then work papers, we have those to stay organized. Tax documents are always where they should be, and your team can work confidently from the latest version of every file. And then we also integrate directly with the tax prep tools. So if your firm already uses those today, like Lacert, any of the Intuit products, UltraTax, CCH, Drake, and then it's a growing list as well. But when you're ready to deliver the return, you can send it securely from client review and e-signature completed, and then the signed documents will actually file right back into SmartVault. So finally, everything is stored securely in SmartVault with unlimited storage, audit logs, and long-term access for your team and your clients. So it's one connected workflow, all in one place, available anywhere at any time. So with that, I will kick it back to you, Nick.
All right, thanks. Let me take the camera from you. So yeah, and there's a lot of awesome features with SmartVault, and one thing that I'm really excited about is the Smart Request AI feature, which is basically to help with the onboarding and the organizers. It's new, so I haven't actually, I've seen it and I'm excited to use it, but tax season didn't start yet. So I'm really excited to use it for all my new clients because we could pull in their prior year's return and it automatically generates a organizer based on what was inputted last year on the tax return, and AI does the whole thing and sends a customized organizer that's very user friendly, which is I think one of the reasons why most clients don't do the organizers. I mean, we want all of our clients to complete our PDF organizers, but they sometimes don't. I don't know if anyone feels that, but I'm really excited about the Smart Request AI because it's going to basically read the tax return rather than me looking at it and reading, hey, we need your W-2s, we need your dividends, we need your Schedule C. It automatically does that on the back end for me. Haven't dove into it yet. I just want to throw it out there because if anyone's interested, you could, learn more about it. But anyway, I want to try to save some time for Q&A because I see a lot of good questions in the chat. So again, assessing your pain points. I highly recommend demoing SmartVault because I see a lot of people asking about SmartVault. So do a free demo. I think that's the best thing you could do because you're gonna have an expert showing you all the tools and you could say, hey, I need this, I need that, and then actually see it live rather than hear me talking about it. I obviously already love it and I did my demos way back. And then just creating your roadmap, like the firm that you want to build and the workflow you want to have at your firm, I think is super important. Those should be your next steps, Evan, on the call today. Julie, if you want to launch this last polling.
Yes. So we just want to ask from the group, whether you're an existing client or a new client of SmartVault, just if you wanted to meet with someone from the team, such as myself. So I'm on the customer success team. So I meet with existing clients, but we have our sales team that would happily get a demo scheduled if you guys wanted to learn more about SmartVault.
Yeah, I see a good amount of questions in the chat, so we do have a few minutes left. So I think we're.
Yeah, we can probably go ahead and get to that. I think.
Oh, if you want to just go over this slide.
Yeah, so here, real quick, I want to talk about this for you, Nick. Just before we would send you off, want to make sure that you guys can grab the resources that Nick mentioned. So go ahead and scan that QR code. It's his full case study and playbook is available to download right now. It basically just dives deeper into the strategies that he shared today. So everything from client communication to pricing to planning to your tech stack to support your growth. And if you're looking for additional resources, we do have plenty available at smartvault.com. So there's checklists, guides, tax prep tools, and more customer stories. And then for our current customers, you guys obviously know that the Smart Hub is your go-to place for any product webinars, trainings, office hours, onboarding materials. So whether you're exploring SmartVault for the first time or looking to go deeper, we have the resources to support you guys. So I think we can go ahead and use the last couple minutes for questions here. I know I saw some.
Yeah, so there's some good questions in here, so I could kind of go through some of the ones that I thought. So someone asked about how I use Financial Sense and SmartVault and where I keep all the documents. I actually keep them all in SmartVault. So we want to use Financial Sense as internal because, and I get this question all the time, is SmartVault's document management system is just far superior. So I think we have a lot of clients. So having that organization and the standard folder tree for every single client, so everyone always knows where to find everything. So we even if clients upload to Financial Sense, we move it into SmartVault, so there's no confusion. Someone asked, do you see any clients in person since we have an office? A great question. Actually, this last tax season, I had, I think, 4 in-person appointments, and I reached out to all 4 of those clients, and I told them that this year I'm no longer taking in-person appointments. And the reason I do that is because my goal for next tax season, I'm in New Jersey. I want to work remotely from Florida because I don't like the cold. It just snowed here. So I'm no longer taking in-person appointments during tax season, and that's just something proactively I want to do to prep for next year. So I can still serve the clients, and if they don't like that, then if they won't do video, then they might not be a good fit for us moving forward. Sign up for SmartVault, awesome. Definitely check it out. And if you're not, if some people are on the fence, I think Joel wrote, "What's the benefits of SmartVault versus a simple file server cabinet?" The integration is huge. So having 1,800 clients, when we add, this tax season, we might get 100 new clients. It's automatically going to match their tax return to SmartVault, match their name exactly, keep their email and everything organized, and there's no confusion. So like when we were manually making folders, I would assume whatever your simple file cabinet would be manually driven. So if there's any typos, it causes a lot of administrative pain, which is how it was for our firm. So plus the compliance, the security, and just again having that standard folder structure, like it's permanent. So you could modify it, but we have folders for internal only, so the clients can't see, and then we also have the shared ones that the client could see and we could see. So we'll save their emails and things like that in SmartVault, which is really nice. Julie, let me know if there's anything that you wanted me to hit on that I might have missed.
Yeah, well, something I can touch on is somebody asked that we mentioned it's mobile friendly and if there's an app. So yes, we do have an app, but also us being so mobile friendly, our online portal you can access anywhere. So if you have your smart device, whether it's an iPad, tablet, or your phone, if you log in by going to smartvault.com, you can access your portal and it'll actually fit to your screen. So it's super user friendly. Like I said, you can use it anywhere, anytime. And then I think you touched on it a little bit, but just asking you, Nick, from the group, they're a SmartVault customer. Is Smart Request AI something that they can use now? Yes. And then if you're using it, Nick.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I actually just generated my first one for a new client, which is really cool because I just dropped in the tax return and it pulled all the data and made a custom organizer. Because before Smart Request AI, we just sent a general blank organizer with date of birth, like all the basics, and it didn't change. So we're just asking very generic questions. But now with Smart Request AI, we could get a new client and have a custom built organizer and basically, I think it takes like an hour on the back end, but that doesn't really matter to me. But it's gonna read the whole tax return and then make a custom like digital organizer. It's really cool. Highly recommend checking it out to see if it will be a good fit for your firm. But I'm definitely gonna use it.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It is available now.
I just want to jump in because I see someone's like wasn't able to capture the document. We could go back. If you scan my QR code, I put the link in my QR code there as well.
And remember, we will be sending this out to everybody too. Yeah, so you guys will get all the links. So everything will be sent to you. But if you would like to capture that QR code now, please do.
I should have did this so we can see both of us. Whoops.
And then another question, Nick, from the group. So this is kind of for both of us. So about the migrating all of your data from your tax software into SmartVault. So we do offer migration services here at SmartVault, and we use tools to help with matching and organizing and getting everything inside of SmartVault from your tax software. So if you guys did move from, let's say, Lacert to ProConnect, it's a very seamless process. Nick, if you want to share just a little bit of your experience, and I know you are going to be switching as well.
Yeah. So the switch is really easy. Our plan actually, because we have so many clients, instead of like proactively doing the merge, because we have all our Lacert files, and now we're gonna have all our clients in ProConnect, and we're gonna do it on a one-by-one basis, so we don't bombard ourselves with all the clients now. So come tax time, when a client is finalized, we're gonna print their return from ProConnect directly into SmartVault, and it should actually automatically merge. And if it creates a double copy, there's going to be a merge feature that we could just select the two clients and merge it into one. So then there's no confusion on the client's end. Because for us, it's super easy, but I just want to make sure our clients don't get confused. Why do I have 2 folders? So that's why we're going to do on the back end. And obviously, I'm talking about in hypotheticals, but I think everything's going to go very smoothly. I'm very excited because, as I mentioned, one of the things I really want to do is work remotely. So having a remote tax software is an important thing for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It looks like we came up on time. So thank you guys, everyone, for joining and sending in all your questions. And thank you so much, Nick, for joining us today and sharing your story. It was awesome to hear. So again, everyone, we will share all the resources to you. And
if any questions that you had for me that we didn't hit, just message me on like LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to answer. So thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you.